Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Today we are going to take drama The Tempest Part 3. Antonio and the king. When Prospero left them, he called his spirit Earl, who quickly appeared before him, eager to tell him what he had done with Prospero's brother and the king of Naples. Earl said that he had left them almost out of their senses with fear, at the strange things he had caused them to see and hear when wearily with wandering about and half dead for want of food. He had suddenly set before them a delightful feast, and then just as they were going to eat, he appeared before them in the shape of a hungry monster with wings, and the feast disappeared. Then, to their great astonishment, their monster spoke to them, reminding them of their cruelty in driving Prospero from his dukedom and leaving him and his little daughter to die at sea, saying that for this cause these terrors had come upon them. The king of Naples and Antonio, the false brother, were filled with sorrow for the injustice they had done to Prospero, and the earl told his master he was certain their sorrow was real, and that he thought a spirit could not help pitying them. Then bring them here, Earl, said Prospero. If you, who are but a spirit, feel for their grief, shall not I, who am a human being like themselves, have pity on them? Bring them quickly, my pretty Earl. Earl soon returned with the king, Antonio, and old Gonzalo, who had followed him, wondering at the wild music he played in the air to draw them on to his master's presence. This Gonzalo was the same who had so kindly provided Prospero formerly with books and food, when his wicked brother left him, as he thought, to die in an open boat in the sea. Grief and terror had so dimmed their senses that they did not know Prospero. He first made himself known to the good old Gonzalo, calling him the preserver of his life, and then his brother and the king knew that he was the Prospero they had tried to kill. Antonio, with tears and sad words of sorrow and true shame, begged his brother's forgiveness. He was very sorry that he had helped Antonio to drive out his brother, and Prospero forgave them. And when they promised to give back his dukedom, he said to the king of Naples, I have a gift in store for you too, and opening a door showed him his son Ferdinand with Miranda. Nothing could have been greater than the joy of the father and the son at this unexpected meeting, for they each thought the other drowned in the storm. Oh wonder, said Miranda, what noble creatures these are! It must surely be a fine world that has such people in it. The king of Naples was almost as much astonished at the beauty and excellent graces of the young Miranda as his son, beauty and excellent graces of the young Miranda and his son had been. Who is this maid? Said he. She seems the goddess that has parted us and brought us thus together. No, sir, answered Ferdinand, smiling to find his father had fallen into the same mistake that he had made when the first saw Miranda. She is only a woman, but by God's goodness she is mine. I chose her when I could not ask you, my father, for your permission, not thinking you were alive. She is the daughter of this Prospero, who is the Duke of Milan, of whose frame I have heard so much, but never saw him until now. Of him I have received a new life. He has made himself to me a second father, giving me this year lay. Then I must be her father, said the king. But oh, how strangely will it sound that I must ask my child forgiveness. Forgiveness. No more of that, said Prospero. Let us not remember our troubled past, since they so happily have ended. And then Prospero kissed his brother and again gave him his forgiveness, and said that a wise, overruling God had permitted him to be driven from his poor dukedom of Milan, that his daughter might have the crown of Naples, since by their meeting in this desert island it had happened that the king's son had loved Miranda. These kind words which Prospero spoke, meaning to comfortable to comfort his brother, so filled Antonio with shame and sorrow, that he wept and was unable to speak, and the kind old Gonzalo wept to see this joyful union of hearts and prayed for blessings on the young people. Prospero now told them that their ship was safe in the harbor and the sailors all on board, and that he and his daughter would go home with them the next morning. Meanwhile, says he, take such food as my poor cave provides, and for you evening's entertainment I will tell the history of my life from my first landing in this desert island. He there called for Calebin to prepare some food and set the cave in order, and the company were astonished at the strange form and wild appearance of this ugly monster, who Prospero said, was the only servant he had to wait upon him. Before Prospero left the island, he let Earl go from his service, to the great joy of that lovely little spirit. For though had been a faithful servant to his master, he was always longing to enjoy his freedom, to wander without a master in the air like a wild bird under green trees among pleasant fruits and sweet-smelling flowers. My pretty Earl, said Prospero to the little spirit when he made him free, I shall miss you, yet you shall have your freedom. Thank you, my dear master, said Earl, but give me leave to attend your ship home with favorable winds, before you say goodbye to your fair, faithful spirit, and then, master, when I am free, how merrily I shall live. Prospero then buried deep in the earth his magical books and the stick, for he was resolved never more to make use of the magic art, and having defeated his enemies, and being untied to his brother and the king of Naples, nothing now remained to complete his happiness, but to see his homeland again, to take possession of his dukedom, and to be present at the happy marriage of his daughter Miranda and the Prince Ferdinand, which the king said that. Now we have finished the Tempest Part 3. Thank you so much and see you next time. Goodbye.